What's good, y'all? I already know where y'all at. It's your boy Star Jones, and it's a new episode of Star Views. It's about to start right now. So please, I hope you got your hookah ready, and I hope you got your cups full of whatever ready, because I got a lot to talk about, alright? Know what's going on. Star Jones, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Please and thanks, you heard? What's good, folks? Your man Star Jones. We back, man. We got another episode of Star Views. And this is a bittersweet episode because this is the final episode of 2021. It's a little emotional for me because I started Star Views back in 2020, first quarter, and the pandemic happened, and all my dreams of actually going to the movies every single weekend and coming on here and critiquing movies for you guys went to the wayside. So 2021, theaters were open, and I was able to give you 26, 27 episodes of Star Views, because I think this is either 26 or 27. I lose count, it's been so many. But, appreciate you guys for sitting here every maybe 2-3 times a month and actually sitting down with me and chopping it up and hearing me out on how I feel about these films. And hopefully it, helps you out when deciding when to go to the movies or not. Because again, that's why I do it. That's the point of this whole thing. So, yeah. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the fourth installment of The Matrix. The Matrix Resurrections. Again, this is the fourth film. We had, Keanu Reeves debut as the beloved character Neo all the way back in 1999. Remember that? Y2K era? So, yeah, this sequel was like 18, 19 years in the making. It's been close to 2 decades since the last film. So when we get back, we're going to actually talk about what transpired. Where's Neo been this whole time? What's he been doing? We're going to get into that. Alright, so I'll be back in 2 seconds. So, Matrix 4, aka Matrix Resurrections. As I mentioned just 2 seconds ago, this is the fourth installment in the franchise, and this picks up 60 years after the events of the third film, aka Revelations. But before I get into that, I'd like to give you a little background on the other movies, in case you didn't do your homework, which is a disservice to yourself. We have Matrix, the original one, that came out in 99, excuse me. Then we have Reloaded, and then we have Revelations. In the first Matrix, we find out who Mr. Anderson is, Thomas Anderson, and how he's exposed to the real world, and that the Matrix is a program. The Matrix is a program configured by a computer architect, however you want to jargon it, and pretty much the human being's real body is in the real world, and they're hooked up to machines and pods and things like that. So that's the first film. Then you got the second film. Neo's been doing his Neo thing for a couple years. He's with Trinity, and again, they're trying to save the world from the machines. At the conclusion of that film, we got a to be continued, and that's when we got Revelations. And it's just an immediate continuation from the events of Reloaded. I personally did not like 3. I think 3 was trash. The second one was okay, and the first one was really good. So as every movie progressed, they got worse. So now again, 60 years now into the present, or the future, so to speak, we see Neo again. But he's being referred to as Thomas, or Tom. For a long time, I never knew Neo's, I guess you could say, Matrix name. His real first name, I just knew him as Mr. Anderson. So it was weird hearing that. But anyway, so again, I think it's important to mention that in the third film, this is a spoiler if you haven't seen the third film, but it is what it is. This movie's been out for almost 20 years. That's what I mean. At the conclusion of the first film, Trinity dies, and what it seems as if Neo dies. It's never really confirmed if he died or not in the third film. But it was kind of, but from the looks of it, it was like, yeah, he's dead. It's no way this man survived this, right? And that's one of my gripes with the third film. Was kind of like, I didn't confirm whether or not Neo was dead. So if we're going to end this franchise, let's end it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So now we fast forward, so we see Mr. Neo. And of course, he's physically aged. He looks a lot older. He's not the young guy anymore. He's like the middle-aged guy. And then, well, before we even see Neo, we see this new young lady in the film. Forget her name. But that's Shorty from Iron Fist. And this guy that's calling himself Morpheus. Everybody we know is we know the guy who looks like Morpheus. That's Lawrence Fishburne. Yahya Abdul-Mateen is playing Morpheus in this film, and yeah, we don't know. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, so we see the new Morpheus, this young lady who I guess you could say idolizes Trinity, models herself around Trinity, and they're in the Matrix, running from these new looking agents. It's not the same guy that was playing the agents back in the day. Got a whole bunch of new dudes in suits with sunglasses with the 5% tint. But so pretty much they're jumping in and out the Matrix, and then finally they bump into Neo. Neo is now this computer video game software tycoon. He's a part of one of the biggest video games in this world, and it's called The Matrix. So the game is pretty much was developed and created from the events that Neo went through in the past. They made the Matrix system made a game about it in its system, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, so everything that happened to Neo is now placed into this video game, so the world thinks that, you know, the Matrix and the events of the Matrix films is again in a movie. I mean, from Neo's dreams, but are now in a video game. So of course Neo is having all these flashbacks, and he's starting to feel like his mind is breaking apart. The reason being is because Neo he's seen a lot of things that are reminding him of his old life. So this Neo in this film is kind of a rebooted version of himself, because again, we learned in the third film that, well, we learned in the second film that the Matrix is controlled and configured by the architect, I believe. And the architect mentions in the film that that movie that we saw back then, all those years ago, was like the sixth reboot of that Matrix system. So we already know anytime there's a virus or a program that fights the architect, it's going to reboot and start it over. So now with Neo's death in the third film, you know, they was able to resurrect him in the Matrix, and that's why Neo's mind is like fracturing, because he died, but at the same time he's been rebooted, and so a lot of his old memories are like spewing out of his head and causing him to look crazy. So he's seeing a shrink. The shrink ends up being the bad guy in the film, the antagonist. So that's pretty much the film. It's pretty much 60 years down the line. Neo's living this life as this normal person. He's realizing shit doesn't make sense. Shit doesn't add up. You know, and he just wants to figure it out. And then we got the new team, the new Matrix team, who are, again, they're from the real world, which is the world with the city of machines and the human beings living underground. They boot a jack into the Matrix, and, you know, pretty much they're trying to save Neo. And again, their world needs his help. So, yeah. So that's pretty much the film. When I come back, we're going to actually talk about how I feel about it, pros and cons, whether or not you guys should see it. Alright, I'll be back in 2 seconds. So, the part of the show I like the most, I'm sure that you guys look forward to the most, because this is always, like I said, this is always the #1 question. Star, what do you think about it? I'm about to tell you right now. So, the pros of the movie, I'm going to start with that. It was good to see Keanu Reeves in the Neo role again. I walked into this film, you know, based off the trailer. Looks alright. I think it looks cool. I might, you know, I said that in my trailer reaction. But you know, like I said, it was good to see Neo again. I'm sure people out there agree with me. When we first saw Neo in The Matrix back in 1999, you know, I think today the Matrix, the first movie, has aged so well. You know, you're talking about 2009, 2019. You're talking about 20 plus years. Yeah, 2009, 2019. Yeah, 20 plus years since the first film came out. You get what I'm saying? And it still looks really good. So, you know, I think that's when we all fell in love with the cast of The Matrix in that first film. So, seeing them back together was good. You know, a good deal. Another pro of the film. Visually, the movie looked good. I think, but again, I think it's like a cheat code because I think most films in the modern era are gonna look good. You know, cinematically, the camera work and everything is just so advanced these days. It's hard to really make a bad looking film. But yeah, the film didn't look cheesy. So I'll give them that. That was also a good thing. So yeah, but I think that's about it as far as pros. Now cons, I think this is going to be a long list. Shout out to Yahya Abdul-Mateen. I think he's a young black actor that's on the come up, and he's going to be around for a long time. I personally appreciate Yahya's acting and his abilities, but Morpheus wasn't it. I think that was a horrible decision. Not even, I won't say a horrible decision. I just think it wasn't a good decision. Because Lawrence Fishburne knocked the Morpheus role out the park. In every film, even if they got worse as it went on, it was never Morpheus' fault or Lawrence Fishburne's fault. He was still a bright spot in every one of those films, no matter the sequel. So to not have him back was kind of crazy. And I get it. Like 60 years in the real world has passed, so he's super old. But to give us Niobe, Jada Pinkett Smith's character, yeah, you see how that segued into each other? Yeah, she's in the film. They didn't show her at no point in the new trailers, but she's in the film. She's mad old in the film. That looked bad. It looked very scary. And I guess it was supposed to be because she's super old, but her makeup looked mad scary. It didn't look like, you know, oh, my great-great-grandmother. It just looked like Freddy Krueger type shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, I think you could have really gave us Lawrence Fishburne in some capacity. And I'm not talking about flashbacks, because there's a lot of flashbacks in the film, too, which is another gripe I have, but we're going to get into that. But, yeah, we saw Lawrence Fishburne in flashbacks, but that's not us physically having Lawrence Fishburne. You know, put him in the film. Put him in the film. We didn't need Naomi's character. You know, she didn't wow us in the other films. I'm being honest. She didn't wow me. She was nice to look at back in the day, but other than that, she didn't wow me. So if you were gonna bring back and reprise all these other roles, like the Trinities and the Neos, you could have brought back Morpheus. I think those are the core members of the team. You know. So yeah. So now with that said, the whole. What I was saying. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So, we didn't need Niobe. You could leave her be. She didn't have to come back. Should have gave us Morpheus. Another gripe I have with the film. They loved Agent Smith. Agent Smith, we all know, was the guy that tormented, or the program that tormented Neo in every film. It didn't matter. Somehow, some way, Agent Smith came back. I think Agent Smith is equivalent to Frieza in Dragon Ball Z. It's fine. Like, we've got you. I ain't gonna lie. I was tired of Frieza always being around. Every couple sagas, Frieza comes back. But he's a mainstay. Fans love him. And I think Agent Smith is also a mainstay. But if you're gonna bring Agent Smith back, bring him back the way we know him as. Don't put him in, like, they called them skins. So you had a bunch of, so you know, just like a video game. And you create your avatar in the game. You got skins. You could change how they look. So they applied a new skin to Agent Smith. Agent Smith had a new skin, young guy, businessman, rich, Neo's co-worker / Neo's boss. That was Agent Smith. Again, I get it. They wanted to go with this new feel for the new film, but it just, I think that idea tanked. I think it bombed crazy. If we wanted to have Agent Smith back, if you guys wanted Agent Smith back, you should have just put Agent Smith how he was used to it. So yeah. I did like the idea of the video game thing. That is a pro. I did like it. It just didn't translate well. Yeah, it just didn't translate well. I just think the story was boring. Like, it was boring. Like, this is another one of those films this year that I was in the theater and I was just kind of like, when is this ending? Like, nothing about the film wowed me. Even the fight scenes, The Matrix 1, Matrix 2, the fight scenes was intense. Like, they were really good. This movie kind of just bombed. Like, it just, nothing about the film was lit. Just being honest, nothing about the film was lit. They were like I said, there were like good things about the film, like that was cool, but yeah, it's just overall the movie wasn't good. It was cool to see the young Indian girl from the third film. That was cool to see. She was an adult in this film. But like I said, there was a lot of reprised roles, but it was like, why not bring back the original looking Agent Smith? And why not bring back Morpheus? I think those two players were important to this game. I mean, important to this movie. And you know what I'm saying? I say game because the plot of the movie was revolved around the Matrix game and the Matrix. So, but yeah. So with all that said, I'm going to give this film, wasn't the worst movie I've seen this year. But it's just another one of those movies that kind of just let me down. So with that said, I'm going to give this movie 5 stars. It's a cool HBO Max film. If you want to sit in the crib and watch it, do that. Do not spend the bread. But if you said, you know what, based off the stars review, I don't want to see it, I don't blame you. You don't have to see The Matrix Resurrections. You do not have to see The Matrix Resurrections. I feel like they could have left the story the way it was if this is what they was going to give us. Will there be another Matrix? Possibly. Don't know. Honestly, not really pressed. The Matrix is now one of those franchises that I am no longer excited to watch. So, this is what it is. So, that's the conclusion of this show. The conclusion of this episode. I have something special lined up for you guys. First week of the year. Gonna have a Star Views Award show. And that's pretty much where I'm gonna have a bunch of nominations of different genre of films. And I'm going to let you guys who I think deserves the title for Best Comedy, Best Movie of the Year, Best Horror Flick, the Bum Juice Award. The Bum Juice Award being for the wackest movie I've seen. Now, super trash. And we've seen a bunch of those this year. So we're going to have the Bum Juice Award. So we got a lot of stuff going on. So I will see you guys the first week of January. That closes out 2021. Y'all have a happy new year. And I'll see y'all in 2022. Oh, y'all still here? Appreciate y'all for sticking around, man. But I don't got no more hookah. But what I do have is more content on my YouTube channel. So please, if you haven't done so already, hit that red button and subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notified as soon as I post anything. Alright? And if you haven't already followed me on social media, here's my information. Make sure y'all follow up. Appreciate it. Y'all still here, man. That's valid. Have a good one.